Hey, Lord's Legacy family, it's Chuck here, staff educator trainer. I'm going to go through a quick video on Oasis. I'm going to try to get you guys a little bit up to date on some Oasis training. Stick around right here and we'll get started. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll jump into Oasis. So as many of you are already familiar with Oasis, this is going to be nothing new. It's like going to be a refresher, but for some of us, it's going to be brand new information and material. So let's all just kind of stick with it and go through it, and hopefully we all learn something. So here we are. This is going to be Oasis. If you don't currently have access to Oasis, we're going to get you that as soon as we can. It's going to look like something like this. You're going to have your username and of course a password. Your username is going to be the first initial of your name, then it's going to be your last name, and then it's going to be LLM. So just as mine is C. Horning, my name is obviously Chuck Horning, so C. Horning LLM. Yours will be first letter of your first name, last name, LLM, just the same. So, and then obviously you'll have your password. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in, provided that our internet access lets us get on here pretty quickly. Sometimes it's a little bit slow going, so bear with me in this process. As you can tell, there's quite a bit of daily notes that we need to have approved here. And let me just briefly show you why. It's because we still have a huge amount of daily notes coming in that are it's just not accurate. It's not accurately being done. Many of us are still submitting daily notes as RL 1-3 or less, Monday through Friday. I put a video out about a month ago saying that when we're doing daily notes, because of the enhanced COVID rate for our participants, that if we're doing a daily note Monday through Friday, it should be under this the service that we should select should be this COVID RL 1-3 or less. Now again, that's Monday through Friday. If you're working a weekend shift, so Saturday or Sunday, that should be RL 1-3 or less. So we're still working on that. We have some people obviously that are getting it correct, but many of us are still getting that wrong. So that's something that we need to address and fix as soon as possible. Like yesterday, like 3 weeks ago, actually. We really got to get this fixed and make sure that we're all doing this accurately. Okay. So let me show you real quick how we're going to do that, and then walk you through a few other things that we need to make sure that we're familiar with while we're using Oasis. So to begin with, once you log into Oasis, it's going to say, of course, Lord's Legacy Ministries. It'll say your name. You're going to see dashboard, time and attendance right here, and then client documentation. So eventually, the goal is to where we are, clocking in and clocking out through Oasis. Okay. That's long term. Don't worry about that right now, but just so you know that that is there. So again, here's our dashboard. We're already looking at it, but one thing that I want you to be aware of is right here where it says my alerts. So mine has a lot of them, but yours should have 0 unless I have rejected one of your daily notes. If I've rejected one of your daily notes, you might have a couple of notifications right there. And if you do, I need you to go in there, check those, and address that, and resubmit those daily notes. And I'll walk us through how to do that, okay? So when you send me a daily note, when you submit it, not when you save it, but when you submit it, it comes under here underneath approvals. So under here, it'll come right here, awaiting approval. Now, if you only save it but don't submit it, it comes under here under drafts, and I have to go in there, find it, edit it, reject it. It's a lot longer of a process. So just make sure that when you're doing your daily note that you're not just saving it, that you're submitting it for approval also. All right, so let's go ahead. So as soon as we get on daily notes, we're going to be here in this dashboard. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on client documentation. So again, I've just signed on. I'm in Oasis. I'm going to click on client documentation. Now my Oasis looks a lot different because, of course, I have more access to things than other staff members. So what we need to pay attention to is you should only have this one orange badge here to click on. And of course, that's the progress note. So we're going to click on the progress note. And you guys are familiar with this. If you've done this before, many of you, most of you have. So what we're going to do to complete a daily note is we're going to select our participant. And again, I have all the participants, but let's just say that we're at Kayla. I'm only going to see the participants at Kayla. That would be like Ralph, Bobby, and Ernie right here. It's all of them, then he disappeared. Where's Ernie? There it is. Moving too fast. Ernie. So again, whatever house you work in, whatever we assign you to, or once we sign you up for Oasis, it's only going to have those participants for you. So you can't get that wrong in the sense of accidentally clicking a participant from another place. So let's just go ahead and click Ralph. Let's just pretend like I'm doing a daily note here at Kayla. So I just got finished working a shift at Kayla. Let's say I worked last night. I worked 12 to 8, okay? So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna click my date, right? Well, today's the 17th. Boom, 9/17/2020. And then I'm gonna click the service I provided. Now, what did I say? Monday through Friday, COVID RL 1-3 or less, all right? Monday through Friday. I don't care what shift you're working. Monday through Friday, it should be this COVID rate. We want to make sure, as long as DDID, they're offering a different rate, you know, for our participants. The reason they have this COVID rate is because where they would otherwise be going to the ADT and be receiving funding because of their participation in the ADT, and now they're at home because of COVID, and we're doing the remote ADT, they're still receiving that funding, but they're receiving it through this COVID rate. So we got to make sure that Monday through Friday, we are clicking COVID RL 1-3 or less for that service that we're providing. All right. So Monday through Friday, COVID RL 1-3 or less. So I worked at Kayla, but now it auto-fills the location I worked, but now I'm going to put the exact time. So again, like I said, I worked 12, right? 12 o'clock. You got to make sure you put AM or PM. So then I get off, what do I get off at 8, right? That's when the shift ends, right? All right, AM, okay. Now, you guys, many of you know this, but if you work that 4 to 12 shift, what does it need to look like? All right, it needs to say 4:0 PM. How's it going to work if I put 12:0 AM? It's not going to work. So what I have to do, the reason being is because it thinks I'm putting 2 different shifts, because 12 AM is the start of another day. So what I have to put is I have to put 11:59 PM. So that would be that 4 to 12 shift, right? So that's how I would put the time in for that. But then let's go back. Let's just assume that I'm working a 12 to 8 this time. All right. 12 to 8, 12 AM to 8 AM. All right, that's one shift, one shift there. So then here in this narrative section, I just begin my daily notes. So, you know, let's say there's no goals. Ralph doesn't have any goals, so I don't have to worry about a goal. So I'll talk about myself in the third person. I'll say staff arrived at the home at 12, let's say I got there at 11, right? Hopefully I got there on time, a little bit early, 11:50 PM. Say RB was sleeping. Actually, I won't even put, I'll just put RB was sleeping. RB slept through the night. Okay, that's one full thought. And we want you to do that. I want you to go back and make sure that you're writing this in a coherent and concise way. So staff prompted RB to wake up at 6 AM, maybe 6:30, whatever, 6 AM to take medications and get ready for breakfast. Right? And then you could, you know, whatever, you would say what else you did. You have one more sentence about your day. So RB, let's see, RB took his meds and then got ready, or had a good morning. Let's see, got ready for virtual ADT. How about that? All right, something like that, okay? And then so what you're gonna do is you're gonna save that progress note, okay? So we've saved the note. Well, where many people go wrong is they save the note and they go on, and that's the problem. So you can't just save the note alone. You have to submit it for approval, or it doesn't get to me the correct way. So once you submit it for approval, So because obviously we're signed into my account, what you see here is this is what I see when you guys submit a note to me. I will then either be able to approve it or reject it. So let's say that you went up here and you didn't actually type staff. Let's say you accidentally typed I. I arrived at the home, right? You just made a mistake. Just depending on what it is, I may either reject it or edit it and just fix it. But more than likely, you might have seen me reject the note. So here's what it would look like. So I'm going to reject that note, right? And I'm just going to say, hey, please refer to yourself as staff in daily notes. Okay. So I'm going to say confirm and send. So that's going to send that. All right. So that note, let's see if the internet provideth. So note has been rejected. Provider will need to resubmit. So let's just go check and see. All right, let's go check and see if that last time I tried to do this, it didn't work. But let's see. What it should do is it should have one of those notes. The problem is I have so many alerts here on mine, and many of them are just inaccurate and needs to be fixed. But what you should see down here somewhere is a, nope, it's not there yet. It's either not there yet or it didn't work. But what normally will happen, what I want you to pay attention to, is it will say task. It'll have that little plus sign and it'll say task. So let's click this again and see it. Nope, it's still not there. So what you're going to look for is you're going to look for one of these sections, and instead of all of these things that I have, you're going to look for one that just says task on it, and it's going to have this kind of drop down menu as well. And you click that drop down menu, and when you click that drop down menu, you'll see my little note that I gave you, and then you'll see the participant's name. When you hover the mouse over top of the participant's name, just kind of like, let's see, just like, so the same way that when I hover over this word edit right here and it goes blue, when you have been given a rejected note, you'll see the participant's name, and then when you hover over the participant's name, it will actually it'll glow blue, and you can click it and it'll take you to the note that you need to fix. So just be aware of that, and those are the things you need to know to fulfill a daily note. Once you have actually saved it, just click submit for approval, and it should be good to go. Remember, the most important thing right now for us to do is to make sure that we're accurately clicking the right service that we're supposed to provide. So if we're doing, again, Monday through Friday is COVID RL 1.3 or less, Saturday or Sunday, it's the regular rate. So it's that RL 1.3 or less. All right, guys, thanks so much for bearing with me in this video. Keep doing the great work that you're doing, and I'll talk to you soon.